What's up, Nom Nommers? For today's recipe review, we are going to be cooking a recipe from the Friends Cookbook. The recipe comes from the episode, the one with all the haste, where Rachel and Monica realize that they do in fact want to switch back apartments with Joey and Chandler. According to the cookbook, if Rachel had had this dish for breakfast, maybe she wouldn't have hated mornings so much. So what are we making? Mornings here bagels. Let's dig in. Right away, I ran into a problem with this recipe. The recipe calls for fresh yeast, which I couldn't find at any of the 5 different grocery stores that I went to. Luckily, you can substitute with active dry yeast by multiplying the fresh amount by 40%. So I ended up using 0.6 ounces of active dry yeast, to which I added water and some sugar. Next, in my mixing bowl, I added water, bread flour, salt, brown sugar, and my activated yeast. The recipe said to mix on medium to low speed for 10 minutes, so that's what I did. After a while, it really seemed like my mixer was having a tough time, so I thought it would be no big deal to finish kneading by hand. Oh my gosh, I was not prepared for the full body workout that was kneading this dough. It was unlike anything that I had ever worked with before. Seriously, my abs were sore for days afterwards. Once I had managed to finish kneading the dough, I placed it into a well-oiled bowl for its first proving session. After about 90 minutes, I divided the dough into 12 equal-ish portions and rolled them into balls. The dough really didn't want to hold its shape, but I think I managed to get them into roughly ball-like shapes. Then it was time for their second proving session. While that was happening, I prepared my boiling water. Like pretzels, bagels need to be boiled before they're baked. The boiling water allows the outer layer to get cooked, creating a shell for the interior dough. This is what gives bagels that really delicious chew that you think of when you think of with a bagel. Skipping this step would just leave you with bread that was shaped like a bagel. The recipe also calls for brown sugar to go into the boiling water, which should give the bagels a faint, sweet taste. Before I could boil them, there was a fairly important step remaining. I needed to poke holes into the dough. The recipe said to spin the dough around my finger, but I couldn't actually get the dough to spin. I still managed to make it work though. Then I dropped them into the boiling water, cooking them on each side for 1 to 2 minutes. Next, it was off to the ovens to bake. When they were finished, I took them out to cool. I was really happy with the way they looked, but it still remained to be seen how they tasted. Now, before we dig in, let's take a look at the texture of the bagel. Okay, it certainly looks like a bagel is supposed to look on the inside. So we can check off that box. Now, let's give it a bite. The first thing I noticed is that the bagels are really dense, and that's probably because I boiled them for too long. The longer you boil a bagel, the more dense it becomes. And if you look at other bagel recipes, you'll see that they have them boiling for 30 seconds on each side, not the 1 to 2 minutes that this recipe called for. As for flavor, this tastes exactly like I would expect a plain bagel to taste like. So, it achieved that goal. And I guess I'm not really picking up though on the sweetness that the brown sugar and boiling water was supposed to deliver on. I think the recipe is a decent blueprint for what a bagel could be. I learned a lot about bagels by making this dish, and it does make me want to make more bagels. So I guess the recipe is worth trying. I don't think it's maybe the best recipe for bagels out there, but it inspired in me the urge to try more bagels. Thank you so much for watching this recipe review. If you've made this dish before, please let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. And as always, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more. Until next time.